Hey everybody, it's John. It's Dry Fire Monday, and I have a very special treat for you guys. My friend Brian Hill, who is, number one of the best instructors that I know, a legitimate bad dude, a dry fire monster. We're here in his dry fire dojo outside of Atlanta, and we're going to talk about a drill that we worked on in the Complete Combatant this weekend that I think will really help you to become a better shooter and have to actually move while you're shooting. So let's talk about it. The Mantis X firearms training system attaches to any gun with a rail and to your phone via Bluetooth to track barrel movement every shot you take. Use it to help you be the most accurate, fastest shot you possibly can in a defensive encounter. I use it in my training all the time. So, as always, again, I'm in Atlanta. I don't have my Mantis shirt, but we're very grateful to the Mantis X Firearms Performance System for sponsoring the Dry Fire Challenge. And you can use your Mantis X to make this even better. We'll talk about it in a bit. So, Brian, how much dry fire do you do a week on average?
As much as I can. A lot. So, I probably do it twice a day, if I can, at the gym and here. So, I'm probably getting about an hour and a half a day.
And obviously that's paid off recently, yeah?
Yeah. It's funny. You can get a lot better working at home.
Brian just sent me a picture a little bit ago of a .99 draw to first shot.
Yeah.
Was that because you're a magician, because you have incredible talent?
Well, if you're willing to put in 25,000 repetitions, you can shave half a second off your draw.
Awesome. Well, I mean, hey, there it is, right? So
yeah.
that worked. Same as when I was talking to Gabe White, right?
Yep.
You know, thousands and thousands of repetitions. Well, we don't have that. I'm not going to encourage everybody to do that. But we did work some stuff in dry fire today at the Complete Combatant. And in particular, I want to talk about the 90 and 180 turns. So tell me why you put that into the curriculum at the Complete Combatant.
Well, we use your videos a lot, and we see a lot of times where people have to get their firearm out and turn and face the opponent, whether they're in the middle of a robbery or somebody's pressing them into a position, so they have to hide that. So it's a really important part of self-defense. Competitive shooters work on it frequently, learning the efficiency of turning. For us, it's kind of more, how can we do it without giving it away? How can we do it without sweeping everybody in the room? And how can we discipline our trigger finger?
So I think an important thing to work on in dry fire, because again, once you've verified everything, you got a training tool in your hand, and to do this in dry fire so that, again, God forbid, we never want to point our muzzle at something that doesn't need to be pointed at. We don't want to put our finger on the trigger until our sights are on the target and we've decided to shoot. But doing this in dry fire gives us repetitions at that in a safer environment.
Yep.
Now, in this dojo here, in their dry fire dojo, the other side of this wall is the earth, okay? This is in the basement. And so this is a safe direction. Now, what we always do when we're gonna do that is I'm gonna turn just a little bit, and we've already cleared, but here's something that I've changed. I used to ask people, would you verify that this gun is clear? But there's a confirmation bias there. That's I already expected. So I'm checking it again, visually and with feel. And then I am now asking, would you tell me what the condition of this gun is?
This gun is clear.
So this gun is clear, no ammo in the room, so now I can reholster safely, and Brian's gonna do the same. So he's gonna pull his. Brian is a crazy man, runs a traditional double action gun. Okay, so that is a training tool there, that's a laser beam, and that is empty, that gun is clear.
And I have a barrel, a tap
Mag
rack
lock,
training
yeah.
too, so I can run slide.
Awesome. Okay, so walk us through then, Brian, what you were going to do or what you taught us this afternoon in terms of this turn and what my priorities are in dry fire.
So this is a timing issue for most people. We practice the draw, but now we've added a bit of motion, so there is a bit more time in it. So when do I get my hand on the gun? When do I bring the gun out? When does my finger go to the trigger? When my sights come to the target? How do I put all that together? How can I do it smoothly and efficiently, but also how can I do it without giving myself away if I had to do it as a camouflage draw?
Okay.
So that's the motion that we work on, turning the body, getting the gun out quickly, clearing the cover garment because we're armed citizens, so it's always concealed.
Right.
So that's the big part of this.
So if we have our targets here, I'm going to back up just a little bit so that we've got a little bit more realistic distance from the target, right? So I can start it not facing the target, but I can start here at 90 degrees, or I can start at 180 degrees. Old school, right? Classic El Pres, you know, where you start El Presidente away from the target and then rock and roll. When you see this done in competitive shooting, you'll see guys that'll draw the gun here and then go to work this way. But if you do that, You have to be very careful. Now, if you do that in competition and you draw the gun here, well, you got yourself a Dairy Queen, friends. You are going to sit down for the rest of the day. It's a DQ. Now, here in your dry fire space, you got to be careful of muzzling other people, but you can do that. Now, here's an interesting bit. You can do this one of two ways, right? This is what we worked on today. If we're standing back here, I'm left-handed, Brian's right-handed, so we can go either way to either side, right? So I can step here, turn, draw the pistol, and get a dry fire press. Great. Reset the trigger, safely put the gun away, and reset. Now, you notice in that one, I turned first, then got the gun out. Now, we've seen it on video a lot of people who have to draw the gun and then turn. Now, of course, Brian's standing right here, so if me as a left-hander, I like turning over my right shoulder, but I gotta be very careful of my muzzle here. So we can do that. This is dry fire space and we verified, but if I'm looking, now is my time, guns in hand. Watch my muzzle though. I have to recognize that muzzle has to stay safe until I'm up and on the target. I can't drive that muzzle, because if I bring that muzzle this way, I'm muzzling an innocent. It's the same thing if let's put this gun back away, if I'm going to go over my left shoulder. Context might dictate, right? So I might, in that same thing, I'm going this way because it's the right way. I gotta watch my muzzle, so I bring that gun in close. I don't leave it out in space. I use that thumb pectoral index, drive around, and then drive the gun out and get a good shot. Brian, what about the 90 degree?
So when you're standing sideways too, this is like a transition as you're coming around. So a part of it is, as we move up here, we want to make sure that we're driving the gun straight to the target so we don't get extra swing in it. You know, it's a big deal. If I'm turning just sideways here, I don't have much turn. So as I move my head first, the eye should go to the target first. Then my body rotates, my hand goes to the gun, and now I'm just driving a straight draw. So it's very simple off the 90 degree. The big part is not to add a sweeping motion to it, or put your finger on the trigger too soon, or get the gun out in a way that endangers everybody around you.
So again, now a footwork thing. I'm gonna step here. You stay there. Can you see my feet?
No.
No. Okay. So if you can see my feet, I don't know how good the audio will be from here. But we had some students working on this because everybody wants to know the footsies, right? Well, guys, I mean, the reality is if I'm turning here, as a left-hander, I just may like to step over and then turn into this because that gets my foot back there. But if you're a right-hander, so for me, I'm gonna go this way. As a lefty, the problem, of course, is now my strong side is forward. That's not as good, so I just step it back as I do. Really easy. Same thing here. If I'm pointed this way and my target is on this side, I can just step out and turn into it. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Now, if I'm going this way, on the other hand, when I do that, I did that same problem, I can just step right back where I wanted to go. Or, if I'm this way, I can just do that same thing where I just step back into this spot. What's the right one? Gosh, is that going to be context dependent? If I'm drawing here and I'm like, okay, man, it's sideways, I need to draw the gun early, then make the sideways go, I can do that. But I gotta make sure that I do it safely, I don't muzzle anyone. And the way that we do that, we've got to make sure that we're using the appropriate training tool, that we're in a safe space to do that. Now, how might you do this in dry fire? If you got a buddy that you can dry fire with, he gets to watch while you make the motions, and he's watching your muzzle direction, and he's watching your trigger finger so that you're not on too soon, and your muzzle is safe. You might go, no, I ain't got a buddy. Well, in that instance, you got to watch your muzzle, and you can put something else here that says, this is my loved one. I can't muzzle this direction, and I have to be careful not to let this muzzle cover. So this week, I have a challenge for you. Add that movement to your dry fire. And again, friends, this is the place that you can do that. Almost no range, public range, is going to let you play these games. Good luck getting one to let you draw from the holster, let alone go, shooter ready, stand by. Like, that's just not going to go, right? But you can do it here in your home, no problem. If the holster is giving you a hard time and adding that bit is too much task loading, start with the gun in hand. Fine. This is, again, what I call a surreptitious draw or a stealth draw. Okay, fine, I've got this. It's my turn. I got the gun out real quiet. Now's my turn. Go. And I got my dry fire press. My goal for you this week, my goal for me this week, 200 presses for everybody, so in that way we're getting better at moving with the gun in our hand and being aware of our muzzle. Brian, thanks for the encouragement, man.
My pleasure,
Great
man.
class this week, bro.
I appreciate it.
Telling you. So the Complete Combatant on YouTube, super brief, excellent tips, little stuff from Brian's classes. This guy teaches 40 to 50 hours a week, And so getting these tips, he just does it. Again, how many tens of thousands of hours do you have on the mats?
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing it for 40 years now, so
And
it's probably 100,000 hours on the mat.
Dude, he won't ever talk about it, but he's got a 4th degree jiu-jitsu black belt, and has beat up a lot of people, knocked out a lot of guys in MMA back in the old country, right? A high-level shooter, and so follow him there on Instagram. You are the Chief Chaos Controller.
I am.
They're also the Complete Combatant as well, and great stuff. I'm telling you. Brian is a friend. I consider him a shooting mentor. He's a guy that I call when I go, man, I'm working on this mechanics thing, and he gives me tips. We text that stuff, and very helpful. So, Brian, thanks, man.
Always a pleasure.